Slip stitch is an invisible sewing stitch that you can use to close up the last seam of something through the hole that you used to stuff it or to turn it inside out or whatever, so that it looks like it was stitched from the inside, pretty much indistinguishable from the rest of the piece. It's essentially the same as a running stitch. The finished product is indistinguishable, but obviously you have to do it from the outside rather than from the inside. So you've got two edges of fabric. They might be abutting like this, or you might be able to hold them together like this. It doesn't matter too much as long as the folded over bits are pressed or pinned or chalk marked in some way so that you can tell where you're supposed to stitch and you don't wander too close to this edge of the seam allowance. Unless you actually did hand stitch up to this point, like my animation just now, you will need to start with a knot just inside one of the folds right next to where the existing stitching stops. It's a little awkward, but you can fiddle your way in there through the hole with a needle and come out in the right place. Now you just pick up a tiny stitch on one side's fold and then pick up a tiny stitch on the other side's fold. And repeat, slowly closing the gap, one invisible stitch at a time. The idea is to choose a point of ingress exactly opposite the emerging thread from the last stitch so that when you pull it snug, the thread completely disappears. In some cases, it's possible to sew the whole seam loosely and then pull it tight at the last minute, which makes a very cute Instagram post, but is not much good for anything else. I prefer to keep it snug as I go along. But not over snug. Like any stitching, it will pucker if you pull it too tight. Finish with a few stitches in place when you get to the end, as invisibly as you can, or as invisibly as you care to. With some practice, it will hopefully leave an invisibly stitched seam that looks just like the rest of the piece. Good luck!